Welcome to Sacred Magic. Violet is on a quest to bring sacredness back into our everyday experiences. Anyone can have an extraordinary life when they are able to tap into their sacred magic within. Violet and her guests will be sharing their divine passions, inspirations, and stories of connecting with their sacred magic. We are so happy you have joined us today. Let's get started with your host, the magical creator of Discover Your Spiritual Gifts, Vialet Rayne.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Sacred Magic Podcast. I'm your host, Vialet Rayne, and I'm excited today for my guest, Jason Antalek. He's a renowned intuitive guide, teacher, and consultant under the moniker of Akashaman. Jason delivers a unique blend of analytical insight, spontaneous wisdom, specializing in Akashic Record exploration, teaching others to access them through the Soul Realignment. Jason guides individuals and groups towards self-discovery and empowerment. Jason and I have known each other for 7 years now. It's been a long journey. He was with me in the very beginning of Discover Your Spiritual Gifts, and we've been hanging out and collaborating for years. We've done lots of things together, so I'm excited to have him on the show. Welcome, Jason.
Aren't those like the best reasons for us to get to do this together? Because there is so much history and so much love and ceremony and classes, workshops, podcasts, meetings. Oh my gosh, we've done so much over the years together, and you're still doing all of those things. It's a pleasure to get to share in that and to be back with you to record again together. This is amazing. Thank you for inviting me.
We used to have so much fun. We would do an Akashic gallery. I think it was the comedy episode, honestly. We would have so much fun with people that would come for readings. He and I bantering back and forth with each other. It was always so much fun.
Those are some of my favorite days, actually. And that was when I started to realize how much possible material I had developed over the sessions, the mini one-on-one readings I'd done, the one-liners. That's where the t-shirt started to come from, right? It was back in those days where the one-liners started popping up. The resources we create unknowingly, just like you said, spontaneous wisdom. I love it. Yeah, those are good times, and it's always best when we can do it in fun, especially when we were able to deliver together, right? Especially when we were there together, really precise and condensed, impactful information. And when we can layer that with a little humor, it's just a lot easier to understand, comprehend, implement. It's just easier to use the information when it's funny, I guess.
Well, I think sometimes we get way too serious about life, and Spirit's like, come on, ease up a little bit. It's not as difficult as you want to make it. So just have a little bit of fun with it. I think that's the best way. And we've always had a great way of doing that. Talk to us about the logical approach to metaphysics, because that's one of the topics you had for us to talk about today, and I want to dive right on in.
Well, I appreciate that. I'm kind of a logical guy. I love to solve puzzles. I have this belief that once I've decided I'm going to complete something, everything between here and there, basically, that was an obstacle or a problem or however I perceived it, really just becomes a puzzle. And because I'm motivated and I'm focusing on the end, I logically work through things. It's not that I'm detached from my emotions. I do have a lot of empathic abilities and pick up on things and have to sort through that in all the years, getting that refined in some kind of way that it's useful. But the logical part of me lets me anchor that. So that approach allows not just me to help and support others, but it allows others to see the same thing. So we're on the same page. It's their interpretation, but we can meet in the logic very easily, which allows the esoteric, the metaphysical, the spiritual, the unseen, the whatever, the divine, the source, the intelligence to connect and for things to work. Hence the moniker Akashaman, right? Akasha is the external energy, the unseen, a man connecting those things. It's really what it's about. Just putting the unseen together in a way that's practical and hence the logical approach.
I love that. I know that when you and I kind of met, we both do Akashic Record readings. We both work in the Akashic back then, and I think it's still today. Most people don't know what is Akashic? What is Akashic Records? What are they? It's one of those terms that I don't think is a household name even today. I think more and more people kind of know what it is, but I still get questions today. What is that? What are you talking about? What do you tell people? Because I'm sure you get the same questions. What is that? What are you talking about? What is your explanation of the Akashic Records?
Depending on how much time I get, the the most or perceived to have the most direct route is I just tell people your Akashic record is the journey of your soul from the very beginning. It's everything your soul has done, whether it's past life, in a body, out of a body, just thoughts, messages, experiences, interactions, all those things are kind of in there. In a little grander sense, the Akashic records themselves is the imprint of the energy of what occurred. You imagine it as a stage. Whatever happens on that stage is then held in the Akashic record. So it's a vibration of what actually happened. And by accessing that, we get a very pure, divine, integrity ridden aspect of what's going on, whether that's for ourselves, for something else in the grander scheme. This is very direct, unfiltered, raw information.
I love that. And it's unlimited. People want to put it in a box and you can't because it's unlimited. It's limitless on the information it can provide, the support it can provide, what it can bring forward for us. And it holds all that information. So I love that. You also talk about people's hidden talents. How do we know what that is and what is a hidden talent?
I say that they're hidden, and a lot of folks are pretty aware. Okay, folks know what they're good at, in some way or somehow they've come into that one way or another. A lot of times, what I notice happens is that some of the talents can be perceived as useful, but also have another side to them. And we have a tendency in our trauma and our difficult situations when we got to get the puzzle figured out, that we tend to navigate and drift towards what we're good at eventually. But it doesn't always seem that way. Sometimes the gifts actually can be miscategorized or misrepresented as flaws or drawbacks. And by kind of repositioning the perspective even momentarily, it allows, I know for myself, and I witness it in my students, I witness it in interactions with clients and things associated with that, wherever it is and the Akashic records are involved. They get an opportunity to see a fresh perspective, and it doesn't have to match mine. It's just a chance to step out of their own a little bit. That's really what it is, and it creates awareness, and it's their version. It doesn't have to match mine. It just gives them a chance to see there's another way. So the skills that we have hidden can be revealed really easily, and we already know some of them. So those are, it's easy to look at what we're not good at and match them up. But those hidden ones can be some of the gems when we reposition them that can be part of the building blocks towards the goals and the things we want to change or possibly manifest in our experience.
Well, I find with some people's experiences, they've had intuitive gifts during their lives, and it's either scared them, that insight of knowing has frightened them, or they have people in their lives, family, friends that don't have the same experiences, and they're like, I don't want to be different. And a lot of different ways we shut some of this down and shove it down and back it up and kind of ignore it when they're really blessings. They're tools for us to utilize because that's what we were given when we came into this life, to help be a navigation system for us. And when we shut that down, it's like driving down the road without navigation in your car or map. You have no idea where you're going or why you're going. You're just kind of drifting. And so sometimes our talents can be those gems, as you call them, that we've thrown to the side a lot of times. And then people want to open them up, and it's not just a door that easily closes and opens. Sometimes it takes a little bit of work. Have you found that people that want to get back to those, they notice those are gems, now they want to open them up like immediately and have them right now. I know with my clients, I find sometimes it takes time again.
I agree, and part of that is the perspective, and the awareness is a step in itself,
Mm-hmm.
and then what you do about it is something else. I know I bump into that all the time. I find something I want to change, and then I become aware of it. Then I gotta drag myself through the emotional stuff, right? Because you can see how much that just I just love that part. But once I get through some of the emotional and get past the initial impact of things and get logical for me, I can see what is going on there, right? But I know I get stuck in certain areas. So if I'm emotional, I just kind of have to tell myself, but it takes a little while to get aware that that's happening, right? And then actually turn it around, right? That's why I say awareness is a step. So to try and get there fast, of course we want to get there fast. Of course we want to implement it. We're manifestors. We want to create our world. We're trying to help people. We got things to do. We're impatient. Where's my stuff? Right? But the truth is, the bigger they ask in some ways, right? The more pieces, the more time and effort. And that word time is, loose, I'm going to say. But there is a lot of opportunity to have things instantly. There's also other things that take, a building, and they take time. The visions come instantly. From that, for me, I can reverse engineer and figure out the steps. That's my process in it. But I love having the fantasy. If it could appear, I'm not sure that I can handle it. I got an event in 3 months. If it just showed up tomorrow, I would not be prepared right now. So I'm glad there's a little bit of a runway there. So I think it's probably both things. Getting comfortable with the polarity and the instant and the limited at the same time, to give it not trying to limit the beliefs, but as a comparison, to be comfortable with the polarities of what we've accepted here. As gravity is a good idea, not just the law. There's certain things are going to happen, and there's certain things that we have a say in. Free will, as we're going to come back to that conversation, it doesn't mean we can't have it right away. But there's also a lot of things that are worth the effort and the time and the journey, right? The journey. 7 years, you and I together, having this conversation feels amazing because of that journey, because of the history, and because we took those steps.
Well, and finding a space of grace and compassion for ourselves, right? That forgiveness, that having grace that we're human, that we're going to make mistakes, being compassionate with ourselves and others, all of that is an important part of the journey. And I get we want instant gratification. We've kind of created a physical world out there with drive-in restaurants and deliveries to our door in 4 hours. We've created this expectation that it should be instant. And the reality is, if everything was instant, like Jason said, you've missed the experience, you've missed the journey, you've missed all those memories that come along with it that are really important as part of our own evolution and growth that we need to have. So, one of the things that I know you talk about a lot, and I can't wait to hear your perspective, is superpowers. What are superpowers? Because I notice in expos that's one of your popular lectures that you have, and I've never gotten to attend your lecture on superpowers. So I can't wait to hear, what are superpowers and what does that mean?
The superpowers are the innate abilities stacked up together to create what we want in our world. That we've already touched a little bit on how we have talents and gifts, and some of us have had the opportunity to embrace them. Some of us will get to a place where we want to develop them, turn them on, turn them off, whatever those things are. Right? That we all have our story in that. But like you were leading in with, we get to a place where we might want to apply those things. Oh, so what are they? Right? And the ability to tap into the Akashic Records and give a very broad version, and then give a detailed, logical, descriptive version through someone's experience, what that looks like. and to point out to them what their actual superpowers are, the hidden places, and ultimately it's really the stacking of a lot of gifts. Right. That's why the lectures are so fun. And I get to do it in so many places. It's coming up here in Colorado Springs. I got one in Pueblo next month. And it's an opportunity to share with people that their day-to-day gifts really are the stepping stones to their superpowers. So if we can already identify some that we know about and then uncover two or three that connect with that, we're on our way. That's a quick turnaround, man. That I love doing that. That is so much fun to hear it in people's experience and show it to them, and they go, "Wow, okay, I see that." And it's part of what they're already doing, but it immediately repositions it in a way as an asset, as something they can utilize, they can actually leverage. It also gives them the validation internally, the confirmation, right? Is probably a better word, but the way to put it into work. That's how we find out what the actual superpower is. We take those talents, we put two or three of them together, and we try it, right? And then we build a little more steps and we get a little higher, and we just keep doing that until we find the combination that fits what we're trying to do. Those superpowers are there. It's just a matter of connecting the skills and the talents, the little blocks that we need to get us there.
Well, I find with some people that they have talents, gifts, what we might call superpowers, that they make assumptions that everybody can do that. Everybody has that skill set, right? And there's a reality here through your lifetimes, through your experiences. You've built talents over thousands of years that you bring in from one lifetime to another. These are things that you sit down and do without watching a video or reading a book or having a class or being educated. It's just something that you naturally step into. And because I have an HR background, the big thing that comes in is the debate. Are leaders born or are they created? And I think there's a reality and a spiritual side that there are individuals that have been leaders throughout many, many lifetimes. They've tried things, they've failed, they've done things, they've been successful. And there is a little bit of that knowledge within our soul. So when we come in, we may naturally be put in those roles, and we're like, why did they pick me? Like, why am I in this role? Well, because other people have seen that you do really well at those skill sets, and so they're placing you in that role. And so people are like, what do you mean everybody doesn't know how to repair the sink? Well, I don't know how to repair a sink. I would have to read a book, watch a video, really kind of ponder what that looks like. And some people would naturally go to the sink and be able to change it out and repair it and not have any issues. So where does that come from? Where does that
Tom,
not right, Tom? Where does that
Tom,
knowledge and
Tom the
wisdom
skeptic.
wisdom come from, right? We have some of that we think everybody has, and they don't, right? Or they develop it over time. So I love when we can kind of figure that out and have a conversation with somebody that says, you're really good at this. Have you ever thought about that? Well, no. Isn't everybody really good at that? No, right? So I think that's where it really comes, that superpower of some of those talents that we accept as something that everybody does that everybody doesn't do. And I'm sure you found that with people too, things that we've naturally done. So for me, the Akashic Records have been really eye-opening, and I'll share a story. When I first opened the center, before I even met Jason, I went into the Akashic Records and I asked a question. Why me? Why do I have this center? Like, please explain. Why am I here? Why am I doing this right now? Why am I opening this center? What is the purpose of this? Because haven't you done something in your life that you go, why me? Why am I here? What is this about? And Spirit in the record said, what was your first career, Vialet? Well, I was a retail manager. I ran retail stores for 15 years. Okay. What was your second career, Vialet? Well, I was in HR. I helped people. I mediated. What was your third career, Violet? What was the third thing you've done on your list? Well, I was a teacher, a college professor. Okay, what are you doing now? I have a retail store. I'm mediating people. I'm teaching. So sometimes our path leads us along the way, and we can't see all the pieces of the puzzle. And awareness, perspective of stepping back, going, oh, I've been preparing for this along this journey that brought me to this place to do what I do today. There was real purpose in the decisions I made. I thought I was just making decisions, right? But Spirit's leading us. So it's a great story to really step back and look at your life. What have you done in your life? What have been those key critical points where you've been successful? And we're not always successful. I also took a job for 2 days as an Orkin pest control person. That didn't last for very.
How did you get through the interview process and knowing what you were getting ready to do? I mean, that's a crash and burn first couple of days, I would call it. Oh my goodness, not your area. Killing bugs? I just can't see it, B. I don't see it. Go ahead.
Thought
Sorry,
it would be a piece of cake just going around spraying people's houses. I'm sure that would be easy, right? Misalignment, very misaligned.
I hear so much of what you're saying in my experience as well, and what I see, especially when people jump out of one version or the other. A lot of us do that. We have that corporate part of us, and I do too. And we get an understanding, one, of what it's like, and two, we don't want to be there. You know, as a serial entrepreneur myself, from everything from paper routes to pushing a lawnmower, I 25 years as a DJ and then training others. You know, the same kind of preparation. I was the events, the catering manager for the club level at the Pepsi Center with, with the hospitality industry in 2000, 2001 when the Avs won the cup, and we had the All-Star game, the hockey All-Stars there. So it's just a magnificent year, right? And all the things that come from that. The change into working for a huge coffee company and managing multiple locations for multiple years, that experience, and then being pushed into a different path for not just necessity but for my desire and what actually aligned, and realizing that. And then kind of even when we're starting over, even when I was starting over, I was still integrating some of what I had. And now when I look back at the last 10 years, it's so obvious that some of the choices that I made, even though I knew they were going to be difficult, that I felt were, for the best word I can give is divinely inspired, right? This is going to happen. There's flags. I know this has got to happen. And even looking back on those, it falls into exactly what I'm doing now and what I love to do. Now it's come together. And the biggest gift of allowing that to happen, V, for me, has been that my messaging and what I want to do is crystal clear to me now. What I'm good at and what I'm focused on, I know when I do it that it works, right? It's just there. And when I see that in the world and the results around me, that is constant, beyond confirmation now. Those are the synchronicities that I get to, jump from one to the other. And along the way, get to use the gifts that I know I've developed and honed. Who doesn't love doing what they love, right? People love to do what they love. And that's what I like to do, is help them get to work, right? Doing that, whatever work means to them, work, play, but I know when I'm doing that, that I'm helping others in a way that I'm going to be successful showing up for them, because I know what I do, right? That's what matters to me. And I got stories on stories of what that means. The ability to step into it, to see it all come together and see the results for ourselves, that personal confirmation, that confidence comes with time and effort. It doesn't mean every choice I make now is confident. I'm not sure how all of it's going to come together sometimes in the big vision, but here it comes, and I know that I've prepared myself for it, and I trust that I'm not alone in a lot of ways. There's a support in my world. There's other people in my world. There's also inspiration in my world that comes in from a lot of directions. The Akashic, the divine, call it what you will. And it does all come together, V. And just like you've done, and you've taken so many people through, sacred priesthood. I was there at the beginning of that, watching that happen, be a part of that, seeing it grow, seeing the graduation and the people and how they apply it and integrate it and take it with them. That sacredness is still with me, and it's in everything I do. It's part of who I am, right? When I say that, I get warm inside because I know where it came from. I know what it took to get through it, and I know where it came from and what the intention was and what it meant. It's all been coming to this place, just like you described. So I encourage everyone out there listening, follow it, go for it. It doesn't have to look perfect. It's not going to be perfect. There's always a right time. Sure, no. That now, now is good. You can do it now. You have what you need. It's already here in the mindset of abundance, right? We are abundant souls, and that's where we're headed.
And it may not always make sense at the time of, I'm being drawn to do this. I don't know why. Trust being drawn to do that, because that skill set or that experience or what you learn through that process is important on some level, because you may not totally understand what's happening, but it'll make sense later on. Just like our journey makes perfect sense to me, DJ, event, all of that, because he uses that skill today in the things that he does. So with that, share with us, Jason, some of the things that you have going on, some of the plans that you have coming up, and how people can work with you on different levels.
I appreciate that. The irons are in the fire, and the manifestation is fast, and it's all coming together really nicely with with what I've done with the Akashic Records and teaching that community, teaching level 1 of Soul Realignment and level 2, and building off of that has really given me the launching pad for the things that I'm interested in now. So the podcast, Two Scoops of Woo podcast is underway. We'll be launching in our first kind of inaugural episode here in a week or so. The Abundant Soul Conference is coming up September of 2024, which has a long-term goal of repeating, of course, but initially it's really about bringing business owners in the Colorado Springs community together, holistic and metaphysical business owners along the Front Range, fair owners, the folks that have their communities and meet the communities. I feel like it's time to watch out for them a little bit and bring them together in a way that we can get some fresh perspectives in business and take away some community networking and opportunities, but also have the chance to apply new things in business and make a more cohesive community here in Colorado Springs specifically, and doing that by bringing the folks together in one place. So September 9th of 2024 is the Abundant Soul Conference, and that's really what I'm aiming at right now. Violet, thank you for agreeing to participate and be on our afternoon panel for that. That I'm really looking forward to what you'll have to share from an ownership perspective and from the HR, and just like we talked, all the things you bring together in that moment and the wisdom that's available, from hearing from the folks that are doing the communities that have those in place and have been doing it for a long time. Helps folks like me that are building it, right, and are trying to put the construction together and finding the people in the framework. And the help and the support that you've always given me is part of why I'm ending up doing this, and get to have you and Tom down to Colorado Springs for a quick visit and a fun day of learning and growing and trying some new things. There will be ice cream. So it's a lot of the irons in the fire and a lot of fun. The main place people can find me is at akashaman.com, akashaman.com. If you haven't worked with me before, my first suggestion is a 30-minute consultation. Want to learn about who you are and what your needs and desires are, and make sure that what I do is a good fit, and we can figure out from there the next steps. Right? So just book a 30-minute opportunity in any way you want. I'm pretty easy to find, but akashaman.com's a pretty direct route. And find me on Facebook, Instagram with Jason Akashaman. And in those places, you could stay apprised with what events are coming up and what opportunities might be available for those that want to participate or attend the Abundant Soul Conference in September.
I love that. I love that. Jason's always doing fun things. He does cruise ships and he does expos and lectures and all kinds of things
Yeah.
that he does. So you can always connect and do some fun things. We love collaborating from time to time, so that's always great too. So Jason, thanks for taking the time today to be on the show. I really appreciate it.
No, thanks for including me. I really appreciate the time and the platform, especially to share the upcoming things. And thank you for all you've done to support me over the years, the friendship, the sisterhood, the mentorship, the just the loving support that has always been there, and the idea to collaborate. And thank you for keeping that alive.
I love that. I love supporting people on their path trying to build their businesses, get started. So I enjoy supporting them. Thank you for listening, watching our podcast on any of the channels. Please comment, like, and follow us on your favorite channel. And I always like to end these as I hope you have a sacred and magical day and week. And I hope that we'll see you soon in the future.